everyone. How are you today? Fine? Yes. Hopefully that today you are fine and happy. Stay safe and stay healthy. Today, I am Nurul Khilmia and our group.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Al-Millah. I'm from English Education Study Program 2018A. My NEM 18188203024.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Noviyanti Triningtyas. My name is 18188203026.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Yunia Maulidina and my NEM is 18188203028.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Avionisa Rahmawati. My NEM is 18188203034.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Prasasti Indah Wulan Suci and my number is 18188203036.
Yes, our group will present to you about one of the skills that most English students must have. As we know that there are some skills that most students have in learning a language, such as listening skill, speaking skill, reading skill, and so on. To know the student's skill, teachers or lecturers will give them a task to assess and evaluate for a better learning. So, in this occasion, our group will present to you about how to make a test, especially for reading skill. So, don't take a long time. Let's get started.
In this occasion, I would like to explain a little bit about reading text. According to Klein, 2006, 2 state that the reading is decoding and understanding a written text. Decoding requires translating the symbols of writing system, including Braille, into the spoken words which they represent. Understanding is determined by the purposes for reading, and the content and nature of the text and reading strategies and knowledge. According to Day and Bamford, 1998, 12, reading is the construction of a meaning from a print or written message. It means the construction of meaning involves the reader connecting information from the written message with the previous knowledge to arrive the meaning and understanding. And reading is the art of understanding the author's purpose to connect with the reader of conceptualization. The art here refers to the aesthetic and reliability of what is being read. It refers to the quest for hidden treasures of words, phrases, sentences, paragraphs, and sermons. Understand. Reading the context means the ability to understand the written text to get the core of what is written. Conceptualization refers to advanced knowledge of the readers that is in the mind of the reader, that is used as the flexible filter for reading, to understand what it reads and how to do and improve. And task was the measure device to assess the attainment of goals in the training system, which there was a correct set of answers received. The characteristics of the test may be knowledge, ability, attitude, intelligence, etc. Testing revised to how question and or statement to find feedback or responses and answers to judge and evaluate.
Okay, in this session, I will explain to you about some parts or components to test in reading skill. There are 5 components or parts in reading skill. The first is phonemic awareness, and then phonics, and then fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. Yes, now I will explain to you one by one. The first one is phonemic awareness. What is it? Okay, phonemes is the smallest units making up to spoken language combined to form syllables and word. Phonemic awareness refers to the student's ability to focus on and manipulate these phonemes in spoken syllables and words. According to the National Reading Panel, teaching phonemic awareness to children significantly improves their reading more than instruction that lacks any attention to phonemic awareness. And then the second one is phonics. Yes, phonics is the relationship between the letters or letter combination in written language and individual sound in spoken language. Phonics instruction teach students how to use this relationship to read and spell words. The National Reading Panel indicated that systematic phonics instruction enhances children's success in learning to read, and it is significantly more effective than instruction that teach letter or phonics. And then the third one is fluency. Fluent readers are able to read orally with appropriate speed, accuracy, and proper expression. Fluency is the ability to read as well as we speak and to make sense of the text without having to stop and decode each word. The National Reading Panel's research findings concluded that guided oral reading and repeated oral reading had a significant and positive impact on word recognition, reading fluency, and comprehension in students of all ages.
Hi, this is Yunia and I will continue the explanation from Nurul Khilmia.
Vocabulary development is closely connected to comprehension. The larger the reader's vocabulary, either oral or print, the easier it is to make sense of the text. According to the National Reading Panel, vocabulary can be learned incidentally through storybook reading or listening to others. And vocabulary should be taught both directly and indirectly. Students should be actively engaged in instruction that includes learning words before reading, repetition, and multiple exposures. Learning in rich context, incidental learning, and use of computer technology.
Learning vocabulary is the first step to mastering language skills in reading. Students can understand a reading in a language if they know the meaning of the words in the sentence to understand the meaning of the text. So, vocabulary is very influential on students' reading comprehension ability. It requires students to be able to understand the meaning and the intent. Also, having an ever-increasing vocabulary is a fundamental part of academic and reading success. The more words we know, the better we become at reading and understanding the text that we read. And for learning vocabulary mastery itself, the test that is considered appropriate to be used is the short answer test, which requires students to provide short answer, or also multiple choices.
Comprehension is the complex cognitive process readers use to understand what they have read. Vocabulary development and instruction play a critical role in comprehension. The National Reading Panel determined that young readers develop text comprehension through a variety of techniques, including answering questions or quizzes and summarization or retelling the story.
And the main purpose is to know and measure the level of skill in understanding the explicit, implied, and implication of the contents of a reading. So reading comprehension is understanding what a text is all about. And to assess students' reading comprehension ability, subjective and objective tests can be selected. Subjective tests can be made in the form of questions that are answered through long and complete answers, or just short answers. Meanwhile, objective tests can be arranged in the form of complementary, matching, multiple choice, or combined forms. Assessing understanding can also be done by asking the students to retell a discourse, summarize, follow instruction, or can ask students to fill in the blank sentences. From this assessment, it can be seen how far students understand the material that has been taught.
After explaining the Part 2 test in reading in general, here I will explain more specifically. We take an example of narrative text. Here's the syllabus we took senior high school class 10 semester 2 topic narrative text. In this topic, we can test the student comprehension and vocabulary of the text, including social function, generic structure, and language features. The purpose or social function of narrative text is to entertain the reader about a story or fictional story. And then generic structure of narrative text. The structure of narrative text serves to distinguish it from other types of text. In addition, the generic structure is also a narrative text builder. There are four structures that become text in this text, which are as follows. The first, orientation. Orientation is the introduction or opening part of the story. Here, the characters involved in the story are introduced, where is the setting and when the story takes place. The second, complication. Complication contains the emergence of the problem. Here, conflict begins to emerge by involving the main character. This problem will continue to grow until its peak or climax. And then, the third, resolution. This section contains story conflict resolution. The peaking problem has subsided and a solution has been found. The story can be worse or better, so from here it can be known whether there will be a sad ending or happy ending. And the last, coda or reorientation. This section is the closing of the story, which is optional, meaning that there may or may not be. Coda can be lessons that can be learned from stories, moral message, or suggestion. Language feature of narrative text is different from report text or descriptive text. Here's the description. Simple past tense because narrative text tells the story of the past. The tenses used are simple past tense. Example, called, sacrificed, or etc. There is a description of the time. Example, one time, once upon a time, one day. There is a conjunction of time. Example, when, suddenly, as soon as, then, and etc. The use of special story characters or specific characters. Example, Maling Kundang, Cinderella, Snow White, Alibaba, or etc. Use of action verbs that show an action. Kill, dug up, walk, or etc. The use of verbs that indicate reporting or forms of speech. This is to make the story come alive. Examples: Snow White said, "My name is Snow White," or direct speech using present tense or etc.
I want to explain about the multiple choice question. Multiple choice is a form of an objective assessment in which respondents are asked to select only correct answer from the choice offered as list. And then here I explain the multiple choice, which is contain 5 questions per question. The score is 5. Title, noun, is the name of a book, a film, musical piece, painting, or other work of art, etc. Main idea of a paragraph is the author message about the topic. It is expressed directly or it can be implied. Moral values are relative values that protect life and are respectful of the dual life value of self and others. He advised me not to believe a false friend. He is refers to the bear.
Okay, I will continue. Narrative text is one of the English texts included in reading skills. So, don't be surprised if it becomes a prayer material that is often discussed in English class. Narrative text material is also present in the national exam, college entrance exam, or TOEFL. Narrative text is one type of English text that aims to tell a story that has chronological sequence that is interconnected. The purpose of narrative text is to entertain the reader with a story. Also, there are many types of narrative text. Narrative text can be imaginary text, factual, or a combination of both. The following are the types of narrative text. There are fairy stories, mysteries, science fiction, romance, horror stories, adventure stories, fables, myth and legends, historical narratives, ballads, a slice of life, and also personal experience. The generic structure of narrative text focused on a series of steps proposed to construct a story. In narrative text, that stage includes orientation, complication or problems, and resolution. Okay, after I explain what it means of narrative text, types, purpose, and what the generic structure is, I will explain to you the example of question and also the text that are usually found in narrative text. Fill in the blank. Fill in the blank is a type of question or phrase with one or more blanks where the people working on it must fill in the blank with the correct answer. Here, I have discussed with my friend if per question, the fill in the blank questions that are made includes 15 points. So if my students do all 5 questions correctly, then they will get 75 points. And it will be combined with the multiple choice question above. If the students can do the multiple choice question correctly, he will get 25 points. And when he answers the fill in the blanks correctly, he will get 75 points. So 25 plus 75 points is 100 points. Students will get 100 points. Okay, for the text and the example of question, I will add in next slide. Okay, we can see the text is Bengawan Solo, and we can see in number 1. Here asking what the story is about. Students can answer with the title of the story or outline in the story. In number 2, the author asks about why the weak fairy did use her magic to make Raden Bengawan unconscious. Here, students can answer according to the reader provided. In question number 2, it aims to test students' reading accuracy. In number 3, the writer asks about the grammatical her. Here, student has to know who her refers to in the story. In question number 4, the writer asks about the purpose of writing the text. Here, students can write down with the purpose of narrative text. And the last question. Student must mention how many generic structures are in the narrative text, and they also required to mention them.
Okay, so that's all for our presentation about how to make a reading text. Hopefully, this video is useful for you. Thank you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.